Hello, this is Chiak. We are back again with another set of Syberia. We're going to talk to these rectors, which I'm not really liking at the moment, but let's just see where this takes us.
I haven't introduced myself. My name is Kate Walker.
Walker, haven't we already had a Miss Walker? Ethnology Masters, September 1953, if my memory serves me correctly.
Perfectly well, my dear colleague. But if I may be so bold, it was a Mr. Walker and not a Miss. It was Bill Walker, sat this June 68 exams. The impudent fool turned up for the oral assessment in jeans, flouting strict internal regulations which explicitly state the required uniform for the occasion.
Pure incitement. It was scandalous. Sadly, we have seen worse since. Young people lack all respect of traditional values.
Tradition, young lady. One must always uphold tradition.
Okay.
You see, I didn't actually intend to stop here, but the springs of my train gave up, you see?
No, not really. You mean to say you're not a student?
You have arrived a little late in the term, miss. Enrollment for this year has already terminated.
But as rectors of this university, and therefore representatives of its highest authority, we could bend the rules a little, if you like.
You don't understand. I'm a lawyer from New York, or rather Valladolid more precisely. My client wants to buy out an old mechanical toy factory, but its heir isn't actually dead and is living somewhere in Syberia. I've got to get to him to sign the sales contract. You see?
Not really. This is a most peculiar tale.
A kerfuffle of the highest order.
We have an excellent law school, if you should ever change your mind.
Okay.
Can you possibly help me out here?
Miss, your insistence is almost verging on indecency.
We cannot constantly be at your disposal. We have many other requests to attend to.
If you don't mind, could you not disturb us all the time? Thank you.
Does the name Anna Voralberg mean anything to you by chance?
Ah, one of the brightest, most idealistic intellects to have graced our university. Anna Voralberg. I remember speaking to him once. I was still a student at the time. He just stared at me, lost in thought for a while. He scarcely ever said a word. But how can one forget him?
Idealistic? I'll grant you that, but bright? Oh, don't go too far. He was completely incapable of passing any exams. All he ever did was to sit in on lessons, and not many of them either. Paleontology, mainly. He had an unhealthy passion for mammoths, which matched the state of his intellect perfectly. That is to say, prehistoric.
Prehistoric? How dare you? A little far-fetched, maybe. But he did have flashes of intellectual brilliance, comprehensible only to high-minded scholars who hold no score by appearances. My dear colleague, your hasty conclusions are somewhat cavalier.
My assessment is wholly accurate. The boy was a little odd. You must concur if my father, who was rector of the university at the time, had not shown great indulgence towards him. Anna Voralberg would have never attended this establishment.
What about the bandstand, then? Is that the work of a deranged mind? Even after all these years, you are still jealous of it.
My dear colleagues, I beseech you, let's show some decorum. We have a visitor. What do you want with Anna Voralberg, miss? Are you a member of his family?
No, not at all. I'm looking for him to clear up an inheritance matter. Is he still here?
What? Here? At the university? No, not at all. He left a long time ago. Yes, a very long time ago. The very year I was nominated to this position, in fact. Almost 50 years ago already.
The poor soul moved on once he learned all he needed to know about mammoths.
Ah, this establishment was never quite the same after his departure, it must be said.
You mean to say it was never as bad? All that oddball brought to this university was his misplaced fantasies.
Gentlemen, let's try to retain the calm and level-headedness that befits our position.
Excuse me.
Miss, we find ourselves terribly put out by the presence of your train in our station and by its recurrent immobility.
Indeed, the situation is very regrettable. Your huge locomotive is very cumbersome.
A train should first stop, then subsequently leave. That is the rule.
That idea of the station aviary is really very original.
It's the pride of our university. One of the specialties taught here is zoology, you see, and more particularly, ornithology. Proper study and instruction should not be limited to books. Observation of living matter is indissociable from theoretical questions.
It contains some very rare specimens that have been brought back from far-away, exotic countries, especially for our university, by the world's most intrepid explorers.
Do you remember Alexander Valenbois and his peculiar bird?
Absolutely. His gift produced some very embarrassing long-term consequences.
A poison chalice indeed. It must be said the situation could have been much worse, however.
Oh, yes, it could have been terribly problematic.
Some sailors have agreed to tow the train, but I don't have enough money to pay them. I was wondering if you could help me out. For a while. I could work for the money.
Please wait, miss. We have certain confibulations to attend to.
That is right. We must confibulate between ourselves. A collegiate decision must be taken.
I hope that we are not indisposing you in any way.
Why not?
If it helps us get rid of that train.
My word, that is a fine idea.
What do you have in mind, gentlemen?
When you arrived here, you must have noticed a splendid bandstand which honors the main university courtyard.
A unique piece of mechanical craftsmanship which no longer works, alas.
Why, yes, we have very moving memories of its melodies. We're prepared to offer you a financial reward if you can set it working again.
With pleasure. What do I have to do?
Unfortunately, my dear, time and rust have taken their toll on this university, and our automatons no longer have a spring in their step. You are going to have to be resourceful.
To tell you the truth, there are a number of complex mechanisms here in Barakstadt, and it would appear that we have unfortunately lost their operating instructions.
Your train, however, is an extremely ingenious invention, so you should be no stranger to complex mechanisms, should you? We are therefore counting on your ingenuity, miss.
I hope that I can show myself worthy of your faith in me, gentlemen.
Well, my dear colleagues, one more university matter nicely tied up.
Okay.
Here we are, busy chatting, and look at the clock. It's tea time.
Already? My word, doesn't time fly by?
Thank you for a charming visit, miss.
And thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. So we need to fix the mechanisms. I feel like there's a lot of things we need to do. I kind of wish there was a list. So we can't do anything with a barge until we get the money. And we need to fix everything around here in order to... Something requires a counterweight to even get into the bandstand thing, though. Oh wait, what's this? I missed this. Amazon Memories of an Expedition. The red Amazon cuckoo. Oh, those were the things that were blocking my way. This subspecies of the common Cuculus connuus is endemic in the Amazon forest and is one of the region's most brightly colored species. The male's plumage is a bright vermilion, while the female's is a little more something and neutral. russet neutral? Habitat and food. The red cuckoo inhabits the more isolated and denser areas of the Amazon forest. It is reliant on the thick upper foliage of the rainforest to live in lonely existence. The explorer may nevertheless have an excellent view of the bird when the animal ventures to lower branches in search of forest Sauvignon grapes. The wild vines provide the bird with the majority of its food. The cuckoo is particularly partial to its juicy fruit. The red cuckoo may sometimes gorge itself on this fruit to the point of drunkenness, tenderizing it an easy prey for a jungle predator. Eat and be eaten. Such is the implacable law of nature. Reproduction. Like other species of cuckoo, the red Amazon cuckoo delegates the task of raising its young to other birds. This parasitic behavior enables the species to reproduce prolifically and with minimum effort. The female cuckoo scouts its territory on the lookout for nests under construction. She chooses the moment when its owners are absent to lay her eggs, generally in the afternoon. The host, meanwhile, will lay mainly in the morning. After laying an egg in her selected nest, the female will remove one of the host's egg and destroy it or eat it later. The cuckoo's egg generally hatches before the eggs of its adopted brothers and sisters. The cuckoo chick will instinctively edge the other eggs from the nest. The young cuckoo grows fast. Sometimes its faster parents will perch on the branch of the hungry chick to feed it. The foster parents will perch on the back of the hungry chick to feed it. Even if the cuckoo's egg is very different to the smaller host egg, it nevertheless mimics the host egg in certain ways not perfectly, but just enough to be accepted by by most species. The future. The red cuckoo's love of the grape could sadly prove fatal for the bird species in the medium term. European settlers who have tried to cultivate the grapes on the American zone alleviated something plains have decimated the Amazon red cuckoo population. Grape producers, to protect their harvest from what they would call inveterate looting, have declared all-out war on the bird. It is to be feared that the cuckoo will be on the losing side. The red cuckoo reproduces relatively well in captivity and is one of the jewels in the crown of the Bergstad University ornithological collection. However, scientists at the university have their own reservations about the species and its propensity to become practically invasive whenever conditions are favorable to it, to the detriment of others, rarer species. Heads of the Bergstad aviary have therefore undertaken a policy of birth control to attempt to balance nature's imperfections in this artificial environment. The forest Sauvignon grapes. Today it is very rare to find the forest Sauvignon grapes in the wild. The species has been decimated by the terrible equatorial phyllox epidemic. However, in Europe, successful cultivation of the plant is the pride of the Bergstad University botany collection and has largely contributed to the survival of the species around the world. Okay, and I'm assuming that is about the grapes, yeah. So I'm gonna have to talk to those guys again. Please run. Run. Can this ladder move? I'm assuming... Yeah, don't know. Either way, we found some information. So I need to head back to those guys and ask them about the about the grapes. Those cursed stairs. Stopping me every single time.
Gentlemen,
A little problem.
They are kept to...
Nor trick.
you wouldn't know if there is any forest Sauvignon here in Barrickstadt, would you?
Absolutely.
When he says absolutely, he means, of course, absolutely none.
What we mean, of course, is that we are absolutely positive there is no forest Sauvignon here in Barrickstadt.
Really? Are you sure? Because I read in a book that Barrickstadt possesses a number of plants. I wouldn't mind getting a hold of some if possible.
Out of the question, miss.
The assistant rector means to say that our priority is for you to remove your train from our station. Your research will have to wait until your next stop.
Yes, that's right. Your train must leave the station immediately, so please refrain from wasting our time in needless visitations.
Don't forget the regulations, miss. Don't forget them. Trains should first stop, then subsequently leave. And quickly.
Here we are, busy...
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's
And
just
thank...
quickly exit out as quickly as possible. So we have a lot of tasks to do. I'm not quite sure how to complete them. We need the Sauvignon grapes. We need that to get rid of those birds, I'm assuming, to get them drunk. Maybe let's ask the professor if he knows where we can get hold of those grapes. Oh, there's an area over here.
Do excuse me, Professor. Professor, sorry to disturb you again.
What is it you want to know, miss?
If I were to say Forest Sauvignon to you, what would you say?
Oh, let's see. Sauvignon. Sauvignon? I would say it's some kind of tropical shrub, don't you think?
We are talking about the same plant, then. It is a very rare shrub with small, juicy fruits. I found a book about the Amazon, and it says that there are even Sauvignon plants growing right here in Barrickstadt. You wouldn't know where, would you?
Amazon Sauvignon plants here? No. No, I don't think there are any. Highly implausible, but you should ask the station master. He is keeper of the greenhouse at our university, so he could tell you more than me.
Oh, thanks very much.
Okay.
I'll leave you in peace.
Sorry?
Now there's an area here I did not realize I can go into. Or, of course, it's locked.
No point. It's locked.
Okay. So we're gonna head to the station master. I think I am gonna have to end this right here, though. So thank you for liking if you like. Thank you for commenting if you commented. Thank you for subscribing if you subscribed. Thank you for favoriting if you favorited. And thank you for simply clicking on this video. And until next time.
Hello?
So, you got him then, this heir?
Ah, it's you, Mr. Marson. Good day, and how are you, sir?
I'll feel a whole lot better when this whole business is over and the sales contract is signed. Where the hell are you?
I'm in Barrickstadt.
What? What in God's name are you doing there?
It's a magnificent university town. It would appear Hans Voralberg once passed by here several years ago.
So if he isn't there anymore, then there's no point hanging around.
I hear what you're saying, sir, but I have good reason to believe that Hans Voralberg is still alive. For the time being, I'm trying to gather extra information from people who have known him.
What's your next destination?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Doesn't sound like you know too much, Kate.
I just need a bit of time, Mr. Marson.
Yeah, well, time is what you ain't got. Keep me posted.
And until next time, guys. See ya.